morning, everyone. Welcome to the circle. The ladies are joining all of us. Actually, we're all here today. Yeah, right? It's been a while. Everyone's had, things going on, so we haven't been all together in over a month, right? Yeah. So we have Lynn Poutzer, Heather Meeks, Tracy Evans, and myself, Tammy Hutchin. So today we're going to be talking about marketing plans, and in all honesty, out of the four of us, the best person for this job was Mrs. Tracy Evans. This girl knows her stuff when it comes to marketing plans. We've learned a lot from her ourselves because we've done some different sessions, and so she's teaching us a lot. So Tracy's going to fill you guys' heads with lots of stuff around doing marketing plans. So take it away.
Thank you so much. So many of you are probably sitting there thinking, oh, marketing plan, planning, all we do is plan. Well, if you failing to plan means planning to fail, and that is a real truth when it comes to marketing. So I bring kind of more of a big business approach to my marketing strategy. Like, I like to look at things the way I used to look at them when I worked for Amex and for Sprint, because I want to grow big and I want to do big things. So I kind of organize my life around those sort of like building a bigger plan. And sometimes you don't need that much rigor around it, but it certainly helps to do it at least once.
For sure.
And I don't know how many of you have kind of a formal marketing plan that you've done for your own businesses. No, see?
Yeah. Sadly,
you got
no.
yours? Awesome. And it can be hard. It's time consuming, right? So, but it's a great exercise to do. And I actually teach a marketing workshop because it makes me do mine every year.
Now, is that open to anyone, or is that just for your?
It will be. I've done it just for my graduates.
So watch for that.
But I will be opening it up for
That's
anybody.
a great idea.
Yeah, it's a great exercise, and it gets you to do a few different things. And the first thing is, and these will kind of wrap up as tips at the end, but one of the first things it gets you to do is really identify your why. Because you can't go out there and start talking about what you want to do until you really know what that is. Yeah. And that really gets down to your why. And I know we've done episodes on things like that, really getting at to why do I do what I do? What do I want? And really figuring out what you want and what your goals are. We've done the goal setting stuff, and in isolation, that's great. But when you do it in concert with your marketing plan and really starting to build out, okay, this is what I want. Your marketing plan is, how am I going to get there? How am I going to bring those clients in? How am I going to find those clients? How am I going to entice those clients and create a story that's going to make them want to engage with my brand, right?
Yeah. Can I say, just interrupt for 1 second and just say, when we're talking about our why, I feel like a lot of times when you're speaking of finding your why, a lot of people overcomplicate it.
Totally.
They start, to really, look inward, and they're like, okay, like, what is my why? And, a lot of people will put out there that your why needs to make you cry. No, it absolutely doesn't. No. Okay. Your why could be something as simple as you want a little more time freedom with your family. You want to take an extra vacation this year. It doesn't have to be complicated. And as you grow and as you redo your marketing plan every year, that why will evolve with you, right?
Absolutely.
So I just feel like people get stuck in that first process of finding their why when it doesn't have to be complicated.
Totally true.
Right?
And I love that you said marketing is really, it's the plan of how to get there. Like that's how you're going to get there. And that's a really good way of looking at it.
Yeah. And I think that's the most important piece, is that it's not a destination. It's your journey. And your marketing plan can change throughout the year, throughout the month, throughout the week. I mean, I may start out my week with a great idea on what I'm going to promote this week. And then, I have lots of squirrels. And
we all do
too. Something comes up, you have a new opportunity that you didn't anticipate. You want to take advantage of that.
Right.
So you shift and you ebb and flow, and that's really important. But you can't even begin if you don't know what you want and how you want and who you want to work with.
True.
So that's really important. Who you are and what you want to get out of your business is step one. The next thing is you need to know who you want to work with. As I just said, you have to have that target market. And we've done a whole thing on Avatar. So definitely look back to that episode, because there's a lot of great tips in there on how to figure out who you want to talk to. But when you're thinking about marketing, and a lot of us all just automatically go to, we have to our social media posts. That's not all that marketing is.
Yeah,
so, you've got to really think through, Your brand, your logo, your taglines, your messaging, other advertising channels, how you network, your elevator pitch, all of this is part of your marketing plan. It's not just a social media strategy. And that may be a big part of it or a small part of it, depending on your business. It certainly should be some part of it, but it's not the whole thing. So again, you've got to think about, before you can decide what that looks like, you don't need to know who you're talking to and where are they, right? Because we can be on Facebook all day long, but if I'm targeting corporate executives, they're not sitting on Facebook all day long. So I'm talking to myself.
Even the timing of when things are released, whether it's Facebook or an advertisement or anything that you're doing.
The problem is that most people never really sit down and define their target market. So no matter what type of marketing they're doing, they're trying to market to everyone. And we all know that saying, right? Not everyone is your client. You know, there are people that, you know, have reached out to have an opportunity to work with me, but after reviewing certain things, I realized they're not the right fit for me. And that has to be important. So you really have to know who those people are with all the marketing that you do. Right? You can't just assume that everybody's your client.
Absolutely. Like they say, if you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to none.
Exactly. Well, and that's reflected because of the words you end up using, right? You end up using such generic words in any type of advertising that you do or how you talk at networking meetings. So I'm going to give you an example. Exactly. So for me, bringing on that new jewelry business, I had to make a decision.
I like it.
But I had to make a decision.
Plug.
I had to make a decision, though, on how I was going to market that at networking. And I realized I'm not going to use my networking opportunities to promote the jewelry.
Right.
The networking opportunities is about me building my Facebook business.
Right.
So I'm not going to show up at a meeting and try to sell both. The reality is, I mean, I'm going to sell it because I'm wearing it, but I'm not going to be, you know, doing my elevator speech and promoting the jewelry. It's all so that, you know, if you're going to take on multiple sources of income, you have to make those decisions on how are you going to market it and what channels those specific elements will be marketed to. I'm going to use just social media to build a jewelry business, right? I'm not going to bring it into the other things. So, because what I don't want to end up happening is where people get confused.
Right. That suddenly who's Tammy?
Yes.
She's the jewelry girl on the Facebook.
Exactly.
Yes.
So how I market is going to be huge, right? On the message that I'm going to send out to people.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, Antonetta. I see Antonetta says, morning. So excited to be able to jump on finally.
And Hope got to get us live as well. And Gail.
Yay. Hi, Gail. Wow.
We
got
Sharita.
we got more. Oh,
Angela.
we can see you guys.
Nice.
This morning.
Excellent. Glad you're here.
Judy, Lori.
Thanks for
Sharita.
joining us. So you made
Okay.
a great point about making sure that your messaging is matching who you're going out for. And so getting to your really down and dirty on who that target market is critical. You know, I have a couple of target markets, obviously. It's not to say that your business is unilateral. It's just understanding where those channels are when they apply and what message goes with that.
Right.
I often have, like, when I do my certification programs, a lot of my graduates are like, oh, I want to do youth programs and PTSD and they have a laundry list of date nights and ladies nights and all this laundry list of things, which is phenomenal. You want to have a diverse business, but when you're starting out, one of my coaches always gave me some really good advice, and that is choose one target and just blast that target for 90 days and make an impact on that target and be really laser focused. And it's okay if other opportunities come and you take advantage of them, but your active marketing is on that one target market. And that's how you can really make a difference and really grow your business.
I mean, unless you have a business, two businesses that end up complementing each other.
Right.
So, right, like if you were in the fashion industry selling clothes, you know, jewelry can be a complement. So
Right.
then you can
Same target.
mark, exactly, it's the same market. So then you're able to bring both of those
Yes,
on,
absolutely.
right?
The other piece that we often forget about, or we might hyper focus on in the wrong way, is who are we up against? So how many of you do like a full competitive review
Who's our
on who's
competition?
competing with me?
Yeah. I mean, I have a good understanding of my competition and how I chose to market, in essence, was to build relationships with them. And so that we can then complement each other and know where, if we have someone approaching us. Amanda and I do a lot of it. You know, Amanda might have a conversation, Amanda Gabato, for those that don't know who I meant. You know, well, if she's having a conversation with a potential client and realizes they're weighing on Tammy's a better fit, and I do the same, right? And I think that's important, that part of your marketing strategy is to get to know your competitors so you can figure out how do we complement each other instead of being against each other.
And how can we collaborate like you do, right?
Yeah. And even if you're in a situation where you are in direct competition and there's no way to refer and collaborate, you still need to be respectful of who your competition is. But you also need to be aware. Touch your tongue. Somebody told me, don't ask.
I don't know. I made it go away. Sorry.
I knew that crazy tip would come in handy one day.
One day. Live on.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
You can answer in your comments, what's weirder, a sneeze or someone touching their tongue? What's worse?
Oh my gosh.
Tracy, so you know what, I was just thinking, maybe you were just going to say this, but what I was thinking of is, let's say you have competitors, you have multiple competitors, and you're planning on putting on an event, okay, for whatever it is that you do, or a workshop or something. You'd want to be checking if your competitors have one on the same day. Like, why try and split the market between multiple people? You just wouldn't do that. To be respectful for them.
Yeah, potentially. And especially if it's a small market. Absolutely.
Yes. Or for people that are driving to get to somewhere, you wouldn't want to. You'd be losing a lot of people too, because
they don't have the opportunity to evaluate both.
Right.
For sure. Yeah. So things you want to be aware of, and you don't want to obsess about your competition.
No.
If you are so focused on your competition, you will lose focus on your own business. Like your goal is not to eradicate the competition. It's not to outdo the competition. It's to outdo yourself. So if you focus on how to make your business better and how to do your work more effectively, more efficiently, better customer service, constantly improving your own business, it doesn't matter what the competitor's doing. And if you have a hypersensitive competitor who's really focused on you, take glory in that, because they're not focused on their business if they're focused on you. So love it. So you want to know who your competition is, but you don't want to be obsessed by your competition. Let them do their thing. There's lots of business out there. Not everyone is your client, as you said. Some people will be a better fit for another organization, and that's fine. Just if you know who your target market is, that will all fall into play really nicely.
Well, and I think if you actually get to know your competitors or what it is that they're offering, you can take that information and say, okay, well, how can I be different?
Exactly.
What can I do that highlights my expertise, and how do I move forward with that? And so now all of a sudden you become, a standalone in essence, because you offer something different than your competitors offer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses.
Absolutely.
It's about playing on our strengths.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's a great segue, because the next big piece of the puzzle is that value proposition and your unique selling proposition. So what does make you different? How do you make sure that when someone's reviewing your product against somebody else's, that you stand out and that you have something that you can be really proud of to present as part of your elevator pitch, and that big key message that is your hook and your grab and what makes you the choice?
What if you don't know? So meaning, let's say you own a hair salon and there's 10 different hair salons in downtown, wherever you live. And you're thinking, well, I cut hair and I know I could do a good job, but what do I really do that's super unique? How do you
know what?
out?
I'm going to use a certain salon as an example, and that's Sharon. Connect Hair Salon in Barrie. And she's done a phenomenal job of making her salon stand out, and it's through the different charity events that she puts on.
Yes, good point.
Yeah, she does a phenomenal job.
Involvement,
is
right?
Huge, it's huge for her, and in turn, she's now recognized for what she has given back to the community, which in essence is driving more traffic to her.
Yeah. And with a hair salon, it's a great example, because we often think, well, if I can cut hair, I can run a hair salon and I'm the same as everybody else. But you'll have different quality of stylists. You'll have a different atmosphere potentially that you can create. I've gone to salons because they have the best head massagers on the planet. That's my favorite part of getting my hair done. there are different things that you can use to differentiate yourself. I used to go to a salon in Aurora, it's a beautiful salon, and she blinged everything out. It was so shiny and pretty, and that atmosphere. And it had a great energy, and and so you'll find.
So either create it, if you're not sure what makes you stand out, or just as you were talking, I was thinking, or ask your clients. Yeah. Maybe they already have, like, what is it that's the best thing about coming here?
Yeah, that's great.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Most people don't reach out to their customers to find out why, right? So find out their why.
Deb Fisher's doing a watch party right now for the circle.
Really?
That's awesome. I just saw it on Heather's phone.
Oh, that's so cool. Thank you. Thank you.
We'll talk about those another time.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. But
I guess I should hone up my skills on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we're all going to ask you. So it is great to ask your clients on why they come. And I always recommend too, when you have clients coming in, or you have a service you've provided or anything like that, you do a survey and you ask them. You get their feedback after every interaction if you can.
Yeah.
Depending on your business, I do it after every event. So I want to know what stuck with them.
Yeah.
But ideally, you're doing that to confirm what you've created as your value proposition, because your value proposition should be part of your why and the passion that you bring to your business. It's what's important to you, right? Like with me, my business, I've wrapped my brand around a unique farm experience that's not your typical, country hoedown farm experience. It's a little upscale. It's tailoring to that corporate client, that kind of thing. And I bring a lot of business aptitude to it, even in my certification. But that's me. Right? Someone else's certification may not look like that. Someone else's team building event might be cowboy boots and and hats. We'll go with hats.
More of that.
It's all kinds of things. I couldn't forget that. And have a little, it could be a little bit more country, a little bit. So and as I teach my course too, I tell my graduates that, like, it's going to be you. And so what makes you unique and what you bring authentically to your business could be very much a big part of your unique selling proposition.
Create your presence.
Yes.
Another plug.
Thanks for clarifying that. I'm plugging them in. Fem City.
We never really
each other.
And we never really plug ourselves anyway. So it's all good. It's all good.
So when you have all that, you've got you know what you're doing, you know who you are, what you want to do, what your goals are, what you want to achieve, what your value proposition is, your why, who you're up against, all those great things come together. Then you've got to get the rubber hitting the road, because you don't want to cycle too long in all that stuff. You want to kind of hit it and go and review it periodically so you know you're on track.
Is there a time frame for that review process? Like, in the sense, should I look at it every 3 months, or maybe once a year? Like, is there a standard?
So I do an annual plan review, like a big plan review, in terms of what I want to do, what are my goals for this year, how do I want to position myself, has anything changed from that perspective? I do that annually. On a quarterly basis, I'm more reviewing it against goals. So if my goals change and I decide, like this week I'm launching new leadership workshops, that's a new thing for me. So I've got to augment my marketing plan. So that's going to create some change. If it's not working, you need to review it. So you want to be always measuring and evaluating how your marketing is working, and be ready to pivot and be ready to augment and change. But if you've got a solid plan and it's been working for some time, it's tweaks. It's not a big overhaul.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So then you want to create your action plan. And your action plan, this is where you get into a lot of different tools. And I always recommend you find the ones that work for you. Some people like to work online with management tools. I'm a paper person.
Yeah, I like paper too.
And I'll create my plan on a presentation and I'll print it off and I'll, write on it. I like my paper. My bullet journal manages my day-to-day, that kind of thing. But some of the tools that you might want to implement, an advertising calendar, a social media calendar, things that will kind of keep you on point on a daily basis can be really helpful. As I say, you may want to journal, have your to-do lists. I know there's a few apps online that you can use to get your to-do lists really functioning well for you. So those are things that are worth looking into.
Trello.
Trello.
That's it.
Trello.
I've heard a lot of great things about
that.
Trello.
Yeah. So figuring out what works best for you, but you don't want to miss out on certain things like website updates. So you don't want your website to go stale. We often think about, I'm launching something, I got to put it on social media. Make sure your website is up to date all the time and you've got fresh content going on there.
I'm
And you know,
delinquent on that.
looking at your social media, looking at your advertising, looking at the networking events you're choosing,
Mhm.
all of those are channels for your marketing.
Absolutely.
And it's a
And
broad
they-
spectrum.
And everything is going to change based on the results that you see.
Absolutely.
Right. I know when we first start out, right, we get to how many different networking groups, right? We fill our monthly calendar with all of these groups, and then you end up spending all your time going out and networking and not really actually accomplishing anything, right? So it's look at each one that you're attending and how does it benefit you and what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Is it really worth your while? You know, for me, what I've done is I've focused on building in certain areas. So that's how I did my journey in the last 10 years. So when I first started, I focused on Barrie.
Right.
So I was there constantly, networking, and built what I needed to build. I did the same out in the Niagara area, right? And then, you know, you build it and then you can maintain those relationships online.
Yeah.
And, you know, now when I look at what I do each month from a networking, maybe 3 networking groups a month in person,
Yeah.
maybe, you know? So whereas before it would be like a couple of them a week.
A week.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Until
Yeah.
kind of
And it's really
established.
honing in on the stuff that works best.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
you have to follow trends as well. You know, 15, 20 years
Yeah.
ago, you didn't build a business unless you advertised in newspapers. So
Yeah.
Right.
you have to follow those trends. Where are your clients? You want to,
Mhm.
that's where your target market is critical. Where are they? Where do they get their information? Who are their influencers? And make sure that you're surrounding them with your messaging.
Yeah.
So would you have a little I mean, you probably do because you lead people through this, but like a checklist of those things. So when people go to, you know, if they have a little journal that they keep this in at the beginning of the year to go, okay, let me see. And has that changed? Like who is it? How old are they? Where do they spend time? Like all of those kind of things for who's your audience.
I do, and I look at it too. I reflect back on, okay, here's who I think my target market is. And then I look at who came through the door.
Right.
And if the people who came through the door are the people I want to keep working with, I will tweak and start going to like audiences for that kind of group, right? For my corporate teams, you know, I get a whole variety of different groups in, but I still have my sweet spot, my target that I want to work with, the programs that really light me up. So I still stay laser focused on, I want groups of 30 from large corporation, head office, you know, departments coming to my team. So.
And I guess you could also make, you know, the 3 top reasons or outcomes that you want to get out of everything you're doing. So if networking in person is my topic, you know, what are the 3 things I must get out of that networking group? And if I don't meet those 3 requirements, then it's time for me to move on.
Exactly.
Right? Go elsewhere, go find the next group that I need to market in, instead of just going, oh, well, and just keep going.
Yeah.
If you're not getting the true value out of it and it's not going to help build your business, then don't go. Don't waste your time going and your money, because they all cost us money. So
it'd be great to even take some of these bullet points and have individual shows, you know, based
Absolutely.
on just
Yeah,
that
that's a
bullet
good
point, which
idea.
some of them we
Might be something you do at the end of the year because it's a
But,
great time to write your plan. for next
or when we do
At
our
the
conference, we could do little workshops. We have been talking. So yeah, like a conference would be a great way. All these different workshops that could be built in throughout the day.
Yeah.
And it could be honing in on some of these very specific tasks that people tend to struggle with. So yeah.
Awesome. Ladies,
I know
we're
I
at
can
time.
talk
I know, we're out of time, aren't we?
Do you have something else?
We'll wrap it up. I would just leave you with one thing. This is a living document. So you're going to spend more time measuring and understanding what's working than you should writing it. So it's not a just write it, file it, and leave it. It's write it and live it.
So
and
do you have that
adapt it?
out every day? Like, is that somewhere that you physically see this
Not
every
that
day?
disciplined, no.
Okay.
I'd like to say yes, I do. Yes, this
Well,
is
let me tell
every
you.
day, every day. No, but I do measure every day. I do
Okay.
check in on my advertising. I check in on my Facebook ads. I check in on what leads are working, what programs work. I track all of my event contacts to see over the years how many people have come to me. from
Oh, okay.
Oh, so absolutely, I metricked out.
Okay.
That was some of the discipline I definitely got in corporate was metrics.
Yeah.
I know you
And I'm an
really
Excel
do.
junkie.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything I do, I put in spreadsheets. But I've never, in all honesty, how I just measure myself is how my month went.
Right.
I have certain numbers that I need to meet each month, and that's kind of, and then I think I'm pretty good at understanding where I need to be and where to go and where marketing should happen and things, but I don't measure myself enough.
But it
Right,
needs
if you
just some
took that
measuring,
one
layer,
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Put
it
one
needs
layer
some
beneath
measuring,
that on
yeah.
where did they come from,
Yeah, that.
then you could get really laser focused.
That's
Awesome.
cool. Well, this was
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Super great.
So yeah,
Happy
thank you,
marketing.
Tracy.
So
That was
glad.
just wow. If you guys have any questions, just comment on the video. We would love that if you feel that you got value out of this, to share the video for us to help obviously broaden our markets. Right? Great marketing for us is relying on you to share our stuff out. So we would truly appreciate that, guys.
And
You've
I'll
got
post the high level bullets on this, the tips.
That's
you.
perfect.
Awesome.
For sure.
So have an awesome day, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Thanks,
Okay?
bye.
Have a great evening,
Bye.
everyone. Enjoy the sun.
Yeah.